It is 2:13 in the morning when a sound shatters the silence. At first, you might dismiss it as a fragment of a dream, a distant siren, a restless animal. But it comes again, sharper this time, insistent, and aimed directly at you. Your eyes snap open in the dark. Your heart hammers against your ribs as you realize this is no dream. This is the night caller. For millennia, humans have been hardwired to awaken at unexpected noises, a primal instinct for survival, a defense against predators lurking in the shadows. But some awakenings feel different. They stir something deeper than instinct, a cold dread that has nothing to do with physical danger. The night caller is a phenomenon both ancient and unnervingly modern, an experience that raises the hair on your arms and leaves you with questions that have no answers. Imagine it. You are lying in bed, the room cloaked in a familiar darkness, when you hear your name whispered with impossible clarity. The voice is not one you know. It is distorted, almost mechanical, yet it seems to fill the entire space around you. You sit bolt upright, straining to hear. But the house is still. There are no footsteps on the stairs, no creaking floorboards, only the heavy, rhythmic thud of your own pulse in your ears. Is someone really there? Or is your own mind turning against you in the lonely hours of the night? Reports of these nocturnal summons echo across cultures and centuries. In medieval England, people spoke of the fetch, a spectral double whose call was considered a dire omen. In parts of West Africa, a voice in the night was the whisper of an ancestral spirit or the work of a witch. And today, the stories persist. People wake to their names being called from an empty corner of the room with no rational source to be found. Science may offer an explanation, a hypnagogic hallucination, a vivid sensory trick played by a brain caught between waking and sleep.
But for the person who hears it, the feeling of being personally summoned from the depths of the night is profoundly real and deeply unsettling. Consider the woman from rural Vermont who for weeks was woken by the voice of her recently deceased mother. Each night, she would hear her name clear as day. Each night she would rise from her bed, convinced her mother needed her, only to find the hallways empty and the house silent. Doctors spoke of grief-induced auditory hallucinations. But for her, those calls felt more tangible, more urgent than any conversation she had in the daylight. Modern technology has only added a new chilling layer to the phenomenon. A late-night call from an unknown number, a cryptic text message appearing on a locked screen. These digital intrusions jolt us awake, blurring the line between a simple prank and something far more sinister. In 2014, a story went viral about people receiving calls at 3 a.m. from blocked numbers. On the other end, a voice would repeat their name over and over before the line went dead. Most dismissed them as robocalls, a glitch in the system. But for those who answered, the effect was the same. A lingering sense of being watched, of being known by someone or something out there in the darkness. The night caller, whether born of folklore, psychology, or a crossed wire, taps into our most primal fear, the fear that we are not truly alone, even in our most private, vulnerable moments. It is a stark reminder that the boundary between our world and the unknown is far thinner than we dare to believe. But what if the call wasn't just for one person? What if it was for all of us? Imagine a signal that would forever change our place in the cosmos. The first confirmed contact with an intelligence beyond our world. For decades, we have imagined this moment. But what would it truly be like to receive a message from the stars?
For years, scientists with the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, or SETI, have been listening. With vast arrays of radio telescopes, they scan the heavens, sifting through the cosmic static for a single, structured signal that betrays an artificial origin. The work is painstaking. Every day, petabytes of data pour in, analyzed by powerful computers, and sometimes by the patient eyes of a researcher hoping to find a pattern in the noise. One of the most tantalizing hints of such a pattern came in 1977. At Ohio State University's Big Ear radio telescope, a powerful, narrow-band signal was detected, lasting for a full 72 seconds.
It was so extraordinary, so unlike anything seen before, that astronomer Jerry Eman circled it on the data printout and wrote a single word in the margin: wow. The wow signal was never detected again. Its origin remains one of science's greatest mysteries, a fleeting cosmic whisper that left us with more questions than answers. But suppose for a moment that a signal like it was confirmed, repeatable, structured, and undeniably intelligent. The first step would be quiet, methodical verification. Through established protocols, observatories around the globe would be alerted. Independent teams would train their own instruments on that same patch of sky, working to rule out every earthly possibility: a secret satellite, a military experiment, even an elaborate hoax. Once verified, the news would be unstoppable. It would ignite a global firestorm of debate and wonder. Governments, scientists, and spiritual leaders would grapple with the implications. Should we respond? And if we do, what do we say? How do you compose a message on behalf of an entire species? Do we send mathematics, the periodic table, the sound of human music? In 1974, the Arecibo message was beamed into space, a simple, encoded pictogram of humanity, our DNA, and our place in the solar system. It was a symbolic gesture, a message in a bottle cast into the cosmic ocean. The first real contact would likely not be a conversation. The immense distances of space would stretch a simple exchange of greetings over decades or even centuries. But the very act of receiving that message would be a profound turning point. It would be the moment humanity learns with certainty that we are not alone. The echoes from beyond may be faint, but they carry the promise of a new chapter in our cosmic story. Yet, not all calls are a source of wonder. Some are a relentless torment. Imagine sitting down to dinner, the day finally over, and your phone rings. An unfamiliar number. You ignore it. Moments later, it rings again, and again. This is not a cosmic mystery. It is a modern-day haunting, an exhausting ritual for millions. These are the calls that will not end. At the heart of this digital siege are automated systems that can dial thousands of numbers a minute, working from lists bought and sold in the dark corners of the internet. Once your number is on such a list, it is there forever, endlessly recycled among call centers and scammers. Blocking one number is futile. They simply call from another, using a tactic called spoofing to disguise their origin. The call might appear to come from your own area code, from your bank, or even a government agency, all to trick you into answering. These calls are engineered to create a sense of urgency, a panic that bypasses rational thought. They claim your accounts are compromised, that you owe money, that you must act now. They use predictive dialers that learn when you are most likely to answer, your lunch break, the evening hours, and they target you with chilling precision. If you answer even once, your number is flagged as active, making it more valuable and ensuring the calls will only intensify. For many, this constant barrage is more than an annoyance. It is a source of genuine anxiety. According to the Federal Communications Commission, Americans receive billions of these unwanted calls every single month. They turn a tool of connection into an instrument of dread, a relentless haunting that follows us wherever we go. It is a never-ending game of cat and mouse, a stark reminder that even in our hyper-connected world, technology can be used to isolate and harass, leaving us feeling helpless against the ghosts in the machine. Perhaps this is why we find ourselves searching for meaning, for patterns in the world around us. We look for signs in the shadows, and these manifestations are everywhere, quietly shaping our experience of reality. A shadow, for example, is more than an absence of light. It is a silent storyteller. The long, stretching shadows of early morning are a natural clock, a tool our ancestors used to mark the passage of time long before gears and springs. The sharp, crisp edge of a shadow tells of a solid, unyielding object, while a soft, blurred shadow hints at something more delicate. Artists and filmmakers understand this language intimately, using light and darkness to create depth, drama, and emotion. Beyond shadows, our world is filled with signs, a visual language we all understand. The red octagon at an intersection needs no words. The bold primary colors of a traffic light orchestrate the complex dance of a city. These symbols transcend language, communicating vital information in an instant. Nature, too, has its own signs. Dark clouds gathering on the horizon are a warning. The V-shaped formation of migrating birds is a promise of a changing season. Sometimes the line between shadow and sign dissolves. The shadow of a great tree in a park is, for a child, a place to play. For a bird, it is a sign of shelter. For a weary traveler, a promise of rest. The shadow itself becomes the sign, its meaning shifting with the perspective of the observer. In our digital world, this language has evolved. The tiny icon of an envelope on our screen is a sign for a message. The digital footprints we leave online are the shadows that signal our passing. Whether cast by the sun or glowing on a screen, these shadows and signs are fundamental to how we navigate our world. A quiet, constant presence guiding our steps and shaping our understanding of what is real. But what happens when the signs lead nowhere? When the trail goes cold and all that remains is a profound and terrifying absence? When the dust settles after a mysterious event, an eerie silence descends. A disappearance, sudden and absolute, leaves behind a void filled only with speculation and the gnawing agony of unanswered questions. In the immediate aftermath, the search is frantic. Helicopters carve grids in the sky. Search dogs trace scents through the undergrowth, and teams of volunteers comb every inch of the landscape. Every lead is pursued, every theory considered. But despite the exhaustive efforts, nothing is found. No belongings, no footprints, not a single credible witness. It is as if the people involved simply ceased to exist. For the families left behind, time becomes a cruel torment. The days stretch into weeks, the weeks into years, each one marked by a hope that dwindles but never dies. Memorials are held without bodies to bury. Empty chairs at the dinner table become monuments to their loss. And in the vacuum of facts, theories begin to grow. Some whisper of a tragic accident, a freak natural event. Others suspect foul play, pointing fingers in the dark. And still others look to more fringe explanations, secret experiments, otherworldly intervention. The internet becomes a breeding ground for these ideas, as amateur sleuths pore over every detail, desperate to solve the puzzle. Official investigations eventually wind down. The case files grow thick with reports, but remain open, unsolved. And with each passing year, the trail grows colder. The site of the vanishing becomes a place of grim pilgrimage, a landscape forever haunted by what happened there. The event becomes woven into local folklore, a cautionary tale whispered to future generations. The disappearance remains a chilling testament to the limits of our knowledge, a story where every potential answer only creates more questions, ensuring the mystery will endure. Perhaps the most unsettling mysteries are the ones we invite upon ourselves, the ones that begin with a simple human act. In the mountains of Japan, as friends gather around a campfire, a story is often told, a legend that chills the air more than the falling night. It is the legend of the +1. More than a simple ghost story, it is a deeply rooted belief that when a group enters the mountains, they may not leave with the same number they started with. The legend, known as Ichi Tasu Ichi, warns that an extra, uninvited companion may join your party, a silent, unnoticed spirit, a presence that is only revealed when someone makes the mistake of counting the heads. The belief is that if you count your group, you might find there is one more person than there should be. Sometimes this +1 is just a fleeting shape in the corner of your eye. Other times it is the tangible feeling of an extra shadow falling across the path, or an unexplained footprint found in the morning dew. The legend's roots go back centuries, to a time when travel through the dense, rugged mountains was perilous. Many who entered the forests never returned, their fates unknown. These lost souls, the stories say, became yurei, restless spirits, forever wandering the wilderness, seeking the warmth and company of the living. The +1 is one of these spirits, desperate to join a group, if only for a short while. This belief is so ingrained that it has shaped real-world practices. Outdoor groups in Japan will often do a roll call before and after a trek, a ritual born as much from superstition as from safety. Some guides even warn hikers never to count their companions aloud for fear of attracting a lonely spirit. And if you do notice an extra person, the legends are clear. You must never acknowledge them. To look at them, to speak to them, is to give them purchase in our world, to risk having them follow you home. The legend thrives today in films, comics, and urban folklore. There are stories of hikers looking back at their group photos, only to find a blurred, unfamiliar face peering from between their friends. Tales of a pale, spectral hand resting on a shoulder where no one was standing. Whether you see it as a superstition or something more, the legend of +1 is a haunting reminder of the wilderness's mysteries and of the thin veil that separates the world of the living from the world of the dead. It suggests that sometimes the most terrifying thing is not being alone in the dark, but the chilling possibility that you aren't.